What's going on, everybody? Welcome into a Tuesday edition of Mile High Hockey. My guy, Aniello Piro, sitting in for Drew Spivak today. Will Peterson with you as always. And Aniello, I want to start with the two games we have witnessed since we last did the podcast. And that, of course, was the game against the Dallas Stars on Saturday night at Ball Arena and a rare Monday matinee against the Buffalo Sabres yesterday, 10:30 a.m. local puck time drop, 12:30 on the East Coast. I guess we were used to it. The Broncos played at 7:30 Sunday, and then we wake up Monday, get some work done, and have an Avs game to digest. So plenty to get to, but I'll just start with this question for you, and then I'll give my thoughts as well. Which Avalanche result do you take more stock in? Was it the win against the Sabres yesterday, 3-1? They get to 3-0-1 on the season, 7 points, leading the Western Conference. Very early, I know, but still, we're going to be tracking the standings all year. Or the fact that Jake Ottinger robbed another game for the Stars at Ball Arena. The Avalanche lose 5-4, and they lose 5-4 in a shootout. And, of course, third shooter for the Stars, it's Mikko Rantanen, of all people. Gets one past Scott Wedgwood. Nathan MacKinnon gets stoned on the other end. Ottinger really stole that game, and the Avalanche fall. It doesn't have playoff implications. I guess the Stars did get an extra point, but it's October hockey. We got to keep that in perspective. It's not April, May, or June. Which result caught your attention more, my friend?
I think it's got to be the Dallas Stars loss, right? And obviously, the Sabres game was a bit interesting yesterday with that early start time, but the Avalanche get the job done. But the reason why I go to the Dallas Stars is just a bit poetic, right? It's the team that's knocked you out of the playoffs 2 consecutive years, in 2 consecutive years in which you thought you had a chance to go out there and contend for a Stanley Cup. And so they've been a thorn in your side. And, to add insult to injury, Mikko Rantanen, the former beloved member of the Colorado Avalanche, is seemingly evolving before our eyes into an Avalanche killer. And I understand that it was in the shootout, so it's not like it was a game-winning goal in overtime or in regulation or anything like that. But it's just so poetic that the team that has given the Avalanche such a fit the last 2 years happens to kind of put the cherry on top to start their regular season head-to-heads with Mikko Rantanen, old pal Mikko Rantanen of all people, winning that game for Dallas. So I liked what I saw yesterday against Buffalo, but you got to get that monkey off your back if you're the Avalanche, and they were unable to do that against Dallas.
Yeah, you're right. It's Mikko Rantanen of all people. I mean, Aniello, I was in the building for all the playoff games at Ball Arena against Mikko last year. He comes back, and I find it funny. He's interviewed about, what's it like to be back? It's like, how many times are we going to do this? This is like the 5th game the guy's played against the Avalanche at Ball. But then, of course, like you said, almost fitting, poetic, whatever you want to call it, he's the guy who scores in the shootout. He gave a fist pump. You could tell it meant a lot to him. And you're right. People want to talk about, Avs Red Wings, great rivalry. Well, we all know that's dead. Avs Wild had a little blip on the radar. Avs Blues had a little blip on the radar. It's the Stars. And unfortunately, to be a rivalry, it's got to be, both sides winning. And the Avalanche did win 3 playoff games last year. But the fact that they've knocked them out in the postseason 2 years in a row, they won't see them again until March. Jared Bednar made the comment after the game, I'd be happy if I never saw them again. He was obviously being a little sarcastic. He was frustrated that Dallas got the best of Colorado just another time. But you're right, man. Mikko Rantanen, it's like every time we feel like we can move on and it's in the past and it is what it is, he does something like that. He's an Avs killer, like you said. He's a villain. I mean, I always thought, half the people still love him. Well, not based on the crowd reaction. It's like 95% of the people that wear Avs sweaters, and I'm talking about the fans, can't stand this guy. It is really frustrating, and I doubt it'll come down to 1 point between the Avs and Dallas, and there's going to be a lot of hockey to be played, but you talk about wanting to wash the bad taste of what happened last April and May. We didn't exactly wash it, and now we don't see these guys till the spring.
Yeah, and you kind of alluded to it. Jared Bednar, I think, is A-okay with not having to see DeBoer and company in the Dallas Stars until.
Well, remember DeBoer, real quick, DeBoer got canned. They got a new head coach.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Excuse me.
But it doesn't matter who the head coach is.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
No, 100%. I mean, it's just like the Avalanche and the Stars don't exactly go well together from the Avalanche's perspective. And it's not like a direct comp, but remember the Nuggets and the Lakers, way back in the day, right? Like the Nuggets would always have these really good teams, but they'd lose to the Lakers in the playoffs, 2 consecutive years in a row for the Avalanche. It's just kind of like, you see the Stars on the schedule and you don't like that. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. But, the reason I use the word poetic to kind of describe that loss is the Avalanche actually played pretty well in the game. Like, obviously they lose, and I'm not trying to make excuses, but, they had 39 shots on goal compared to 22 for Dallas as well in that game. So I like the way that they played for the most part. The result is not what you want. And again, it's a shootout, so it's not like you lost in regulation and whatnot, but it's just another reminder of this team standing in front of the Avalanche that they've yet to be able to overcome the last couple of years.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point and something we need to get into because the Avalanche were the better team. Both Cale Makar and Nathan MacKinnon talked post-game and hinted at that. And quite frankly, Jake Ottinger just was, call the cops. He's robbing the Avalanche, including the one on Marty Necas in overtime. Just an absolutely absurd save for the Dallas goaltender. And you think, Scott Wedgwood's been so good this year, right? He's given up 1 goal in 3 of his 4 starts. And against Dallas, they had 4 goals on their first 12 shots. And I understand there were some funky bounces and all this and that, but it's just like, man, if you're going to get 4 past the Otter, you expect to win. Wasn't enough for the Avalanche that night. Do you think that the Stars are in the Avs' heads? And actually, is it a good thing that this regular season is going to be literally 60-plus games before they play them again? And then you'll get them 3 times before the playoffs. And also the wrinkle of Gary Bettman, the NHL commissioner, being completely stubborn. This looks like a Western Conference final. And yet, once again, there's a chance it's a first-round matchup, which is going to drive Avs fans nuts. Could be a second-round tilt as well.
Yeah, that's a potential nightmare scenario for Avs faithful out there. I think, you want to obviously, beat the best. And obviously, the Stars ended up beating the Avalanche last year and the year prior in the playoffs. So they should, in theory, welcome that challenge. But just the results that we've seen, suggest the opposite. And so to answer your second question first, like, I'm happy they don't have to play Dallas until much later on in the season. I want the Avalanche to focus on playing good hockey, building up their confidence, and not to try to say that they didn't give them their best shot on Saturday. They played very well in the game, but I'm okay with not seeing Dallas. Like, let's go up there and beat up on Columbus like they did with Buffalo yesterday, right? And so it is what it is on that point. But I think, what I look to in regards to like the emotion and the will and the desire from the Avalanche, in that game against Dallas is Nathan MacKinnon looked pretty pumped up for that game. Celebrating, after the goals, locked in. We all know that he's a very ferocious player on the ice, but it felt like you got a little extra juice from Nathan MacKinnon. So I'm not going to say that the Stars were necessarily in their head, like messing them up, but I think the Avalanche are very much understanding of where they are with the Dallas Stars and the need to play really good hockey against them. And hopefully that's fuel for the fire moving forward and when they meet again in March.
Yeah, Nathan MacKinnon had the interesting post-game comment that the crowd was booing our power play. I guess they don't know what a good power play looks like. Well, shots fired at Avalanche fans. I didn't hear a ton of boos, but he did say they don't know what a good power play looks like. And I actually will agree with Nate on that one. I thought the Avs moved the puck really well, much better than they did against Utah in the home opener. And again, Ottinger just stood on his head like Ottinger tends to do. Let's talk about the game yesterday, though, because that was a nice, refreshing change of pace. You go into Buffalo, sort of a sleepy afternoon. The Bills were playing later that night. I know it wasn't there, but Bills Mafia locked in on their football team. Their hockey team's going to be really bad. And the Avalanche did what they do. Nathan MacKinnon, 2 goals. The backhander was slick and sweet. The second one to make it 3-1 was really nice. Good to see Cale Makar get his first goal of the year. Great pass by Valeri Nichushkin. What were your takeaways from that Sabres game? And then also through 4 games, the second line still not doing much. Nichushkin 1 point, Nelson 1 point, Landeskog 0 points at this point in the year. I know on paper they're actually playing pretty well. Like, I've watched the games. The second line has not been like, oh my gosh, they're out of place. But also at some point, the production does have to come from someone not named Nathan MacKinnon, Marty Necas, Arturi Lehkonen, and Cale Makar.
Yeah, I'm not overly concerned with the second line's production because they're passing the eye test, as you kind of alluded to. And I mean, you and I were sitting there at Ball Arena less than a week ago for that home opener. So we're still very, very early into the season. Look, I'll discount Landeskog a little bit just because, I mean, he's coming back after, a handful of years away from the game because of the injury stuff that he was dealing with. I think it's foolish to expect him to come back. I know he played in the playoffs last year, but he's got to get into a rhythm. Like, I won't really be able to cast firm judgment on Landeskog till probably closer to the halfway point of the season, just because I can't imagine what he's having to go through to get back to playing at that level. Brock Nelson, as you alluded to yesterday, had that interesting, when it was a cut, I believe, on his hand at one point.
Yeah, that was scary. I'm honestly, you get cut there. I'm just glad he wasn't gushing blood all over.
Yeah, same. And so
that was scary.
for yesterday's performance, I can discount that a little bit as well, just because, that's an obscure injury. I know maybe not as obscure in hockey, but something you have to deal with. And Nichushkin, I thought, had a great feed to Cale Makar on that. What was that? The second goal of the game for the Avalanche yesterday as well. So, they're a very top-heavy team. You've got Nathan MacKinnon, you've got Cale Makar, some of the best players at their respective positions, if not the best in the NHL. I think everything else will come along steadily for the Avalanche. And most importantly, we talked about them a little bit. They're rock solid in the net, which you cannot really have said for the last year and a half or so.
Yeah, Mackenzie Blackwood, by the way, on assignment with the Colorado Eagles. But the Eagles don't even play till this weekend, so I get why the Avs did it. It's go to Loveland, skate, stay in shape. You don't need to come on the road trip. I would assume we'll see Mackenzie Blackwood at some point in the next week or two, but you're right. Scott Wedgwood has started all 4 games and holding it down. He's been great in 3 of the 4. All right, final point. Nathan MacKinnon, 8 points through the season, through the first 4 games of the season, 4 goals, 4 assists. Take an early peek at that Hart Trophy odds, and it's the usual suspects. It's him and McDavid. He won one a couple years ago, could be gunning for his second. In some senses, it's well, this is just the Nate we know and love. Of course he's going to do this. And in other senses, it's a good reminder we are spoiled and we need to embrace every game 29 plays for the Avs, because he is just so ridiculously good at hockey. And even in a sleepy Buffalo day game when most people are at work, I had fun watching it because 29, just absolutely the best player on the ice.
Yeah, he's an absolute dog, and obviously nicknamed Nate Dog and whatnot. But I think I scared everybody in the studio yesterday because I was watching the game, and that first goal, the spin, the backhand, boom, and away we go. I'm yelling on the couch because of how sick and nasty the goal was. I mean, I'm just this is the best time to be a sports fan. And obviously, you got the hockey, the Nuggets starting up as well. But Nathan MacKinnon doing Nathan MacKinnon things, man. And to your point, we've got to enjoy it while we have it. Hard to believe he's 30 years old at this point as well. So I'm not saying the sun's setting on his career, but he's going to be 31 next year. And I think you talk about Hart Trophy, this, that, the other. Obviously, I think Nate wants to win the Hart Trophy. The Avalanche would love for him to win the Hart Trophy. But the priority number one for Nate and everybody in that locker room is going out there and winning another Stanley Cup. And I think the Avalanche, through this first turn of games, even at the loss against Dallas in the shootout, look like a team that can go out there and contend for a cup this year. They got to stay healthy, and Nathan MacKinnon's a large part of that. But yes, awesome to watch him yesterday with the 2 goals.
Yeah, so much fun. And you're right. He cares a lot more about the team accolades than the individual ones. But you could make a case Nathan should have 2 or 3 hearts at this point in his career instead of only 1. So it's 4 games. I get it. 4 games. But he's coming out hot out of the gate. And the Avalanche are coming out hot. 3-0-1, leading the West. Certainly a lot better than 0-4-0 like they were at this time last year, and an absolute goalie crisis. We'll be back on Friday for another edition of Mile High Hockey. Make sure you like, share, subscribe on YouTube. Avs Blue Jackets Thursday night. We'll react to that. Plus, Avs Bruins. There'll be a lot of Bruins fans in the crowd Saturday at Ball Arena. Can't wait to do it all. See you in a couple days right here on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook.